I think it is kind of amazing the mics aren't picking it up, because I was like, I feel like we have to acknowledge the Jason Derulo concert going down. Hey everyone, this is Nick Romano with Entertainment Weekly. I'm here at Comic-Con with one of the most talked about stars of the night, Thursday night after the Deadpool and Wolverine panel, Dafne Keen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you give me an impression of what it was like to be in the Hall H room and just like, not just watching the movie for the first time, but seeing the crowd react to you getting on stage afterwards?
It was insane. It was completely electric. I don't think I've ever felt that much enthusiasm from a crowd before.
Out of the Marvel panel, Wesley Snipes.
Wow.
How's it going?
It's going fantastic, fantastic. I just got a chance to see the movie.
Yeah.
And woo-wee!
I don't know if this was your takeaway from tonight's screening, but my takeaway was that you got the biggest reaction in the room when you came on screen for the first time.
Wow, that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope, does it translate into money?
Yeah. Emma, thank you so much for being here. How's it going?
Thanks for having me.
There are so many amazing cameos in this movie.
Amazing cameos.
So many. Yeah. Did you have a personal favorite? Because I feel like each
Yeah.
audience member has a personal connection
No,
to
I
at
did
least
Gambit.
one. Yeah.
Just, yeah. I've never laughed so much in my life. And, yeah. I want to see more. Don't you want to see more?
I do want to see
Yeah.
more. Yeah. I heard a really funny story. I'd love to hear your perspective on it.
Okay.
About how you found out that you were coming back as X-23 Laura. About you were trying to relax after work in the bathtub, dropped your phone in the bathtub. Is all of that accurate so far?
So this is painfully accurate. Yeah, I'd done like a 12-hour day of like stunts, and my agent kept calling me, and I was like, God, stop calling me. My work day is over.
Yeah.
And I was being all like diva about it, and I was like, just stop it. And I picked up, and I was about to lash out on her. I was about to be like, Natalie, and she was like, Daphne. I've been on the phone to Seraphin for the past like month. They want you in Deadpool. I was just calling to tell you that. And I literally went, and I dropped my phone in the bath. I then had to put it in rice. I had to call her back once the phone had dried off. It was a whole thing. It was like 11 at night. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was so freaked out. I then just went to like my best friend's house who lives across the road from me. And I was like, I can't sleep. Can I just like come hang with you? It was insane. Yeah, I'd never received news like that in my life.
Yeah. The fact that you got a text message from Ryan Reynolds once upon a time that said, don't hang up. This is Ryan Reynolds.
I did, yeah.
Do you remember what you were doing exactly at that time?
Yeah, I remember it was quite late at night in London, where I live, and I was on my sofa watching some TV with my flatmates, and my phone buzzed, and it was face down on the table, and I turned it up, and it was, yeah, just had this text that said, hi, Emma, Ryan Reynolds here, don't hang up. And I threw my phone across the room.
Did you break it?
I didn't break it, but I did chuck it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crack screens?
No. The phone was safe and sound. I was just, yeah.
So what was the conversation like when you actually got on the phone with Ryan?
It was amazing. Well, that was actually the beginning of a really long message where he said, I'm so looking forward to working with you, and I'm so excited. We've been creating this character, Cassandra, in such detail for such a long time. So now we know who's going to play her. Then, it brings that person really to life. And I remember there were 3 words. He said we want her to be mischievous, cutting, unpredictable, also lovable. And just those words really started getting me really excited about it.
It was a call. It started with a text from Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, wow.
And I saw a text, and it says, I want to talk to you. And I was like, I hate this guy. No, this is a joke. We've been playing this for like 2 decades. We've actually liked each other the whole time. But anyway, he called and told me, he said, I have this idea. And he told me what the idea was. And I was like, I don't know how the hell you're going to pull that off. It's very unlikely. And I said, well, if you can make it happen, sure.
Yeah.
I'll come and do it. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, why not? Let's see what happens. I did not think it was possible. I didn't think you would be able to pull it off. I didn't think that Marvel was into it, Disney was into it. And also because they had Mahershala, cast for the next upcoming version of it.
Totally.
So I thought it didn't make sense to me. But, you get a call from Ryan Reynolds out of the blue after 20 years, you go, okay, I got to take this call. Let's see what this is about.
Yeah.
And he told me the idea and said yes. They said yes, and it's a go. If you're in, we're in. And here we are.
Now tell me, like, how, in all honesty, how difficult was it to keep this particular cameo a secret while others were kind of leaking?
Ooh, it was very, very challenging. Very, very challenging. And, you know, I had to travel, and I had to tell I couldn't reveal that I was traveling for this to my family. So it was it was quite an experiment, you know.
Yeah.
And the family didn't know. I shout out to the fam, the Corrin Nation, and I want to say thank you, you know, for everybody that supported the show. It's been supporting me over the years. And it's quite amazing to see how people respond to the work. Yeah, but this is the first time I've been to Comic-Con with a Marvel film, if I recall correctly. I don't think even back in the days when we were doing the early Blade films, I don't even think there was a Comic-Con, or maybe it was 10 people, 12 people back in those days. So this is the first time being here for a Marvel film, and it's a little different because they do it very big between Marvel and Disney. It's very big.
Yeah.
Very big. Makes you want to do more Marvel films.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So
Yes.
this is like your first Comic-Con
It's my
experience.
first Comic-Con. Yeah.
What, first impressions, first reactions?
It's amazing.
Yeah?
I want to go. I want to go next year. But just like, you know, dress up, and I want to go as something from the, I play a lot of The Legend of Zelda, so I want to go as Link and go, yeah,
I'm
incognito. So watch out. I'll be here.
I'm also realizing this year happens to be the 23rd anniversary of the creation of Cassandra Nova. Is it kind of
What?
crazy that, like, in 23 years, you're the first actor to play this character in live action?
I didn't know that.
Isn't that crazy?
That's incredible. No, that's amazing. That makes it, I mean, I feel a huge honor. Yeah, it's a huge honor bringing this character to life, and even more so now knowing that.
Yeah. So I am curious how deep into the Marvel comics with Cassandra Nova that you got in sort of preparation for this movie.
I did a lot of research on the interweb, and there's this amazing thing called the Marvel database, and it has, like, in my head it sort of sits as like like a top trump card. You used to play those when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And it has all the powers and like all the things that define this person, and it's like that, but then like extensive. So I learned a lot through that. Specifically, I was really interested in Cassandra's origin story, being the evil twin sister of Professor X. And so then I sort of delved into that, and then Cassandra's quite sporadically in the comics. So then I emailed Sean saying, you know, could someone get hold of these comics for me? And he said, actually, I think you'll find that, you know, the script's enough, and what you've done is enough. So that was quite a nice sort of like, okay, now I can focus in on the script.
Yeah. I absolutely love all of the scenes where, like, you're putting your whole hand through, and obviously there's CG magic and all of that, but like through people's heads. And so the reason why I asked about the comic book research is because some of those images are like direct recreations of comic book panels. I was curious how aware of like those shots you were.
Oh, very much. No, in that sense, yes. Like visually, a lot of our visual cues were from the comics. A lot of the handwork, the finger work, and also a lot of the costume cues we took from the comics as well.
I do want to ask you, because I remember you telling me a while ago that you wore fake fingers, prosthetic fingers.
Yeah, prosthetic, and so I sort of had these prosthetic fingers that gave me a, like, I don't know, I can't do measurements, but whatever that is on the end of my finger,
What is the best part of wearing long fake fingers, and what's the most challenging, like, practically in your day-to-day?
Oh my God. I would say the best part is screen time, because I couldn't use my phone. So that was fantastic. It was almost like going on some kind of weird retreat where you couldn't use screens for for any day you were working. The worst part, probably going to the bathroom, couldn't go to the toilet on my own, couldn't pull down my pants on my own. It was a very humbling experience. Yeah.
I feel like that is the most common complaint among actors wearing superhero costumes, is being able to use the restroom.
Yes. God bless my dresser, Billy. Big shout out, because she was an angel, and we got to know each other very intimately through that experience.
What was it like getting back in the suit?
It took a month.
Really? How so?
Well, I wasn't Blade ready, man. I don't walk around as Blade every day, you know what I mean? With a trench coat and glass and shades and stuff like that, and fangs in my mouth. Yeah, we had to work out. We definitely had to get the body right, and my biggest concern was being in condition enough to deal with whatever the action was. And they didn't really tell me what the action was going to be, so I prepared for whatever that was going to come. Thankfully, I didn't have to do as much as I thought I would. Yeah, because action movies are tough. They're not easy at all.
Yeah.
By any means. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So about a month into it, yeah, and I, got the body right, mind was right, and then with the help of a little customized foam, well placed in certain areas, it's all good to go, baby. Let's ride. Wow, what a man.
One of my favorite details about this movie, with your performance specifically, is you bring back the pink glasses from Logan.
Hell yeah.
Is that like a particular prop that like as soon as you put that on, it like snaps you back into X23 mode?
100%. I'll tell you furthermore. I was like, I'm so grown up. I'm completely different. And then I put the sunglasses on and I was like, oh my God, I look the exact same. It was so crazy. I literally looked at myself in the trailer mirror and I was like, I have not grown. Like I look the same. It was the best thing ever. Like as soon as they were like, and you're gonna have the glasses, I was like, and doing stunts with the glasses on. It was so like reminiscent of that. And also you're just so badass, like with little pink glasses, like shut up. Like so cool.
I know a lot of fans were really hoping that you would get like the yellow blue kind of comic book accurate, but I also feel like it's more appropriate for Laura, the character from Logan, to dress in this costume. I'm curious if there are ever talks though about like maybe you would get an actual superhero suit versus this outfit.
I don't know if there were. Not when I came onto it. We tried a lot of different costumes for her, and I think that the denim look is very her. It's what we had in Logan, the like double denim with a little unicorn shirt. There were talks of like different t-shirts, one little unicorn one, and that we were like, that's a bit too on the nose, so we decided on the glasses. And even though I don't have a suit, what I'm really excited by, which not a lot of people have picked up on, is that her belt is an X-Men belt. She has a little X on her belt.
No way!
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So you should check that out. But that was, it's so cool. And I think also if you look at Laura, the lore of Laura, that she has so many different looks. She has like all the black two pieces. She has the blue and yellow. She has like, she's just so cool. So there's so many different places that you could pull inspo from.
So was like the production crew just like finding random fake fingernails kind of all over the place?
All over the place, yeah. Because I'd have the prosthetic fingers and they needed to glue the fingernails on, and the fingernails would fall off all the time. So I was constantly having to, I'd find them in pockets of things when I went home later in the day. They were everywhere.
I know we're at Comic-Con, there are so many cosplayers out there who are so attuned to every single detail of a look to recreate it. Are there like really specific elements of your costume that you think like cosplayers should know about that maybe like looking at it on screen they might not get initially?
Oh my gosh, great question. I think the belted corset situation is quite a specific one to get. And that sort of got the cross. We sort of put in a lot of crosses to sort of pay homage to the X-Men universe. Oh, I love that. So on the belt, Cassandra's got a belt, and on the belt thing, what is that called?
A belt?
A belt thing. like the brassy, the buckle. The buckle, yeah. That word. I've been on this tour for too long. I've had no sleep. On the buckle, there's an X. And then also the corset has like an X here. And I think those are quite specifically chosen things. And the collar of the coat is always turned up, and the boots are very long, like knee-high. Yeah.
That is so cool. So are there like other hidden X's like within the movie and like within the sets, especially like your lair?
I think Cassandra's lair. Yeah, look out. Keep a watch out.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that attention to detail.
Yeah, it's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah. How much bald cap work have you done in your career prior to this moment?
Done a lot of wig work.
Yeah.
But not much. This was my first experience with a bald cap. Yeah.
First impressions, reactions?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I buzzed my hair anyway, and then I sort of chickened out of wet shaving it because I thought that was a bit too far for me. But the bald cap was great. I mean, it's a lot of time in the makeup chair. But I have tattoos anyway, so I'm always spending a lot of time in the makeup chair. But it was great. It kind of is another thing that once you put it on, you really feel like you've arrived in that character.
I gotta ask about your truly awesome action sequence with Jennifer Garner, Wesley Snipes, Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Like, what was your reaction, not only preparing for that scene, but also knowing you would be going through it with all these alums that are coming back with you?
Well, first of all, Sean called me and he was like, you're gonna be doing your scenes with some huge names. And I was like, who? And he was like, I can't tell you. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. And all the names on the thing were completely code, so I had no idea who these people were. And then I sort of would bump into them in the fittings, and I finally, like a week before, they were like, it's Jennifer, it's Channing, it's Wesley. And I was like, oh my God. And then I'd been stunt training for it profusely, like the psycho that I am. I'm completely obsessed with stunt training, so I was like, I must get it down. And I was like doing my little claw drills, and Jennifer walked in. And Jennifer was like all stressed out. She was like, oh my God, like I haven't done this in 20. And she literally starts like insane. And I was like, you're fine. You're actually so fine. I feel very intimidated right now. She was like freaking out. I was like, you need to shut up right now. Yeah.
You have such a great action sequence, and it's an ensemble action sequence in this film with so many other different cameos. Was that as chaotic to shoot as it looked on screen?
Man, it was so cold out there. My nuts shriveled up to about that, brother. It was so very cold when we shot this. And you know, we started shooting before the strike. And that was in the summer. And then we had to come back, and it was winter. And then was winter where we shot in Europe there.
Yeah.
Whew. Very, very tough. You know, doing action scenes in like sub-zero weather is not easy and not good for your health, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very challenging. I look forward to you joining me on the next one, though.
I mean, I'm ready to do it. What was it like now working with Ryan in this capacity where he's now writing dialogue for Blade?
Some of the things he did back in those days, you know, that's not really my humor. I'm not tuned in that way. And so I thought, well, you know, it's a little over the top for me. But seeing him do it in this context made a lot of sense. And seeing him do it and do it well. Ryan does something that, you know, most people can't do. He's unique in that way, and he's found a fantastic niche for himself doing what he does. And Deadpool is, you know, it's Ryan Reynolds all day long.
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to work with him. It was enjoyable to revisit. Well, actually, we didn't get a chance to do very many scenes in the very first movie, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
So that was new, and yeah, to watch him work, to watch Sean work, and to watch Hugh work, it was quite a pleasure.
Yeah. Do you remember the first moment that you got to actually like reconnect with Hugh Jackman in the same room, not even like over the phone or Zoom?
Yeah. Well, the first time Hugh and I saw each other was. I was doing a costume fitting, and halfway through my costume fitting, they were like, Hugh is summoning you. He's on the next stage. And I was like, okay, well, I've got about 5 different pieces of clothing on with like tags off them, and in my socks. So I like quickly put my shoes on and like ran across with like tags hanging off me. And I was like, Hugh, and they were like approving sets, and we had this very emotional reunion, but within a room of like 20 people approving sets, and both of us looking very surreal. It was a very surreal meeting, but it was very lovely. And he was like, "You're so tall," and I was like, "You look the same. Like, this is so crazy." Yeah, it was lovely.
I do find it so fascinating that fans have responded so strongly, not just to like your relationship with Hugh, but like to your characters' relationship to each other. I'm curious, like, how you kind of think about that relationship, that character relationship, that working actor relationship now compared to when you were making Logan at the age of 11.
Well, whenever I master about Hugh, I always think I had this sort of. I think when you're really young, when you're a child, things become bigger and like kind of mythology in your head. And Hugh had become this kind of like incredible myth of this like perfect leading man who was so warm and loving and caring and protective of me, and so incredibly talented and such a wonderful scene partner. And in a way, I thought that I'd built that up in my head because I was a child. And then getting to reunite with him on set was kind of even more than what I remembered. And getting to do all of those scenes with him was one of the most like beautiful experiences of my life. It was immediately we were like back in it, and there was this sort of magic, and he's such an incredible human being, and he's such an incredible actor that I could work with him for the rest of my life and I'd die happy. And it was really fun to get to dive into that Laura Logan relationship, because I think it's really beautiful, this this thing that they've created of kind of they're each other's salvation, and regardless of whatever universe they're in, they kind of need each other. And she needs her Logan, and Laura brings him back to his center, to his core, I think, and that's a really beautiful thing.
I am curious because it must be a unique experience playing a role at 11 and then returning years later at the age of 19 to do this. Do you think that, you know, just as the years have gone by, you've gained more life experience? Do you feel like your mindset now has sort of had an impact on how you played this character again?
I think yes, but I think I was so shaped by that role as an actor, and by Hugh specifically. The way I conduct myself on set is 100%. My main thought at the forefront of my brain is always, would Hugh do this? And so I think a lot of who I am is what I learned on that film. But it's completely, I think it was really shocking to me how different I was on set, and also just again going back to the Laura and Logan relationship, kind of experiencing, I think, the loss of a parent, even though he's not technically biologically a parent, but the loss of a parent, and then having the insane privilege of having that parent back, but that parent not knowing that they're your parent, is kind of such a heartbreaking thing for Laura to go through. And it was a really fun thing for me to get to investigate as an actor. And also, again, going back to this, that even though he doesn't know her, he does know her, because they're the same.
Have you had a chance to connect at all with Mahershala since the new Blade movie was announced?
Not since all of the stories about the reboots and all of that have dropped. We haven't spoken. But early on, when they made the announcement, you know, I shouted him out, told him he's got all my blessings and support. And I even, you know, referenced the fact that some of the challenges they're facing now with the project, it shouldn't be credited to him. You know, it's not the actor's fault. There's a lot more that goes on with pulling this Blade stuff off. You need a lot of secret sauce to do the Blade thing, man. Good luck. You're my man, though, you know.
Well, I hope you're tremendously proud of all the work that you put into Blade, the legacy. Yes. It is still impactful today. Wesley Snipes, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to be here. Pleasure seeing you again.
Pleasure.
And we look forward to bigger and better things in the future.
I love that you've said that you were aware sort of like Patrick Stewart's performances as Xavier and James McAvoy's. I'm curious how conscious you were of like trying to channel that energy, and like what did it mean to you of like channeling the Xavier aesthetic, I guess? It's
something that I wanted to know. I wanted to go back and do my due diligence about. And yeah, I watched bits of their performances because I was very interested in how when someone has telekinetic powers, how that is portrayed on screen, because it's quite an internal source. It's not like you have weapons or claws that you use physically. It's very internal than external. So I was interested in how that's been done before, but I was quite disciplined, and I sort of took what I needed, was inspired by what I was inspired by, and sort of parked the rest, and was able to create something hopefully quite original with Cassandra as well.
How tempted were you to do the whole finger to the temple thing?
Never, actually. Never, no. Because she's a bit different. As she says in the film, like, my brother can enter one's thoughts with a touch, or when my brother can enter one's mind with a thought, I have to get my fingers dirty. So, yeah. She has a bit of extra work, Cassandra, yeah.
One of my colleagues even pointed out that, like, even just the way that your eyebrows are shaped in this movie, like, emulates sort of Xavier in some ways. Are there other, like, physical cues that you've noticed sort of in this performance that kind of channel that family connection?
I don't think so, no. I feel like Xavier has a sort of calmness and a tranquility sometimes, especially in Patrick Stewart's performance, and I sort of tried to channel Cassandra's version of what that is. But her version, I sort of also looked at Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka, because I feel like in that film, specifically his portrayal of Willy Wonka, he's sort of like overseeing the chaos. And you kind of get the sense that he's a grand puppet master who's in total control of what's going on, and he's so powerful that actually he can stand back and watch it all unfold. Yeah. And I sort of, those kind of elements I tried to channel in Cassandra, where she has this sort of like, she's such an Omega level mutant, and she has so much power that she doesn't really, she's very amused by these guys, but she doesn't really know whether she's totally invested yet, whether she really wants to, you know, really mess things up.
Do you have an all-time favorite Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka quote or scene that kind of stuck in your head as you were thinking of that
Oh my
reference?
God, they're all so good. I think once things start going wrong with the kids, that's, I mean, just all of that. And he's sort of like watching it all, and the parents are going insane, and he's sort of like, well, yeah.
He let Augustus, or Cassandra let Augustus Gloop die.
Oh,
in
she
the
would have done
chocolate river.
exactly
Yeah.
the same thing. Yeah.
When did you find out you were going to be sharing a scene with Chris Evans in this movie?
I remember quite early on, actually, because I had a lot of questions about Johnny Storm and why and who and how, and yeah, that was a major moment, as I think it was for everyone. But also that we had a similar kind of feeling with all of the cameos in this film. Like, they are all there very much as the film suggests, because they deserve an ending, they deserve to be seen, they deserve a storyline, and it was so fun to bring those characters to life again.
I feel like even for someone so young, you've had so many really cool roles in genre projects like Star Wars, Marvel, His Dark Materials, love that show.
Thank you.
What can you conquer next, sort of, in this genre? Do you have a bucket list of things you want to do?
I mean, my bucket list is whatever they throw at me, I'll do. I love a genre movie. I shot a horror film, and I'm really excited for that to come out. That was another genre that I was like, must do, horror. Honestly, anything that requires stunts and screaming and blood, I'll be there, like 100%. Call me up.
Yeah. Well, Dafne, thank you so much for
Thank you so
joining
much
us
for having
today.
me.
Yeah, thank you. This has been such a thrill. For all of your Comic-Con needs, check out EW.com. Thank you all.